Okay, it is 6:00 p.m. on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. We'll call the common council meeting to order. Let's stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Middleton.
Here.
Varga.
Here.
Romano. Here. Weagold.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
As you heard, Jennifer is joining us via video conference. In front of you are the minutes from our last meeting on the 26th of November. I did send one issue, I think, over to Sally. Do you remember what that was, Sal?
I spelled Pell wrong.
Oh, yes, the Pell study, ironically, was misspelled. So besides that, were there any other changes or corrections? Nope. Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tad, second by Leslie. We'll go to the voice vote. Leslie?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Tad? Dan?
Here.
Jennifer?
Or yes.
Okay, it is unanimous. Next up is the Pell US 30 Level 3 Assessment.
Mayor, can I say
Yes.
something real quick? I do need to leave tonight by
Yes.
6:55
Okay.
because I have to go over and talk to the scouts at the
Okay.
church.
Okay. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. Rusty, can I put you on hold for a moment? Okay, thank you. So we'll go through some of the other ordinances first. So let's do ordinance 2024-28. Do I have a motion to read by title only?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Jenny. Further discussion? We'll go to the voice vote. Leslie?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Tad?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay. It is unanimous. Please read ordinance 2024-28 by title only.
Ordinance 2024-28, an ordinance amending the zoning classification of certain property from the R2 two-family residential district and the R3 multifamily residential district to the I1 light industrial district.
Okay, Chip, I don't know if you, Dan, Jennifer want to talk about this?
I can talk about it. So Kilgore is expanding off of South Line Street, and they have, I wish I had they have a purchase agreement that they possibly will not need this because they might purchase property off of Diamond Avenue. But in case they do not acquire this property, they would like to expand off of South Chauncey Street. So,
Okay.
as I told the Plan Commission, we have a vision for South Chauncey Street and what we would like, but that's a vision. This is, Kilgore went from 35 employees over the last 5 years to 67 employees, no tax abatements, none of that. And so they're a thriving company. I don't want to stymie their their progress. So I did not make the motion, but I said the same thing and we got the motion. So I feel like this is a good thing for our community. It's not necessarily where we would want it in our community, but it always has been industrial, that part of our community. So I think it's, well deserved.
Yeah, it's pretty much a mutual agreement through across the board or plan commission, we understand, we talked about, what the future of that area could look like, but at the same time, to reiterate what you just said, it's an opportunity for them to grow and expand and who knows, maybe even hire more people. So you don't want to stymie that even though, we were fantasizing about what that area could look like.
Sure.
But at the same time, you got a company that's growing and I don't think we want to prohibit that.
Jennifer, you have any comments?
Just agree with them. We did tell them that, we want this to look nice and be nice in that area, but also we don't want to, in hopes of having something bigger or better, we don't want to, put them on pause or whatever. So
Yeah, great.
kind of gave them our vote of confidence to invest in that area.
Okay, thank you. Questions of the council?
Good, so right now it's a lot, or was a residential, is that, if I was reading that correctly?
There is So right now, it is, they're both residential 3.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 3 of them are residential 3. Um, And I think there's parking lot on at least 2, if not 3 of the
Okay.
the sites. So it's already kind of, I won't say I mean, it's sort of being used in that context
Yeah.
anyways, right? There's not homes there that they're going to be bulldozing and
Okay.
putting something else up there. It's just a matter of rezoning the property as it currently sits for potential. Did they talk about whether there's future development that they're gonna do there, or is it just? for-
Possibly expand, another building.
Okay,
Okay.
Not expand, not take up the alley, but just put another building.
okay,
Got it.
And
Okay.
these are all kind of adjacent to each other.
yeah,
Sure.
And they're having issues, which we know of loading, the way they have to pull in to unload their trucks. They
because
kind
they're
of
right up
block.
on Line Street.
Yeah, they block the sidewalk on Line Street,
Yeah.
and they do have a loading dock, but it's not conducive. It'll plug up Line Street because the trucks would sit on Line Street. So, yeah, they're hoping just to kind of make the congestion go down in that area.
Any other questions of the council? Okay. Nathan did ask me whether or not he should be here tonight. I said, well, you have 3 planning commission members that are here during this meeting, so I figured he probably didn't, he had parental duties he had to take care of, so he did want to be here, but couldn't due to family reasons, so. So with that, I guess, if there's no more questions, then I'll take a motion for ordinance 2024-28.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jennifer. Tad already seconded, so yeah, that's okay. So motion by Jennifer, seconded by Tad. Further discussion? All those in favor will go to the voice vote. Leslie?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Tad?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
It is unanimous. We'll move that to second reading at the next meeting. Thanks, everybody. Next up, we have Resolution 2024-26. Do I have a motion to read by title only?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Leslie, seconded by Tad. Further discussion? Go to the voice vote. Leslie?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Tad?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Please read resolution number 2024-26 by title only.
Resolution number 2024-26, Common Council of Columbia City, Indiana, a resolution regarding emergency medical services in Columbia City, Indiana.
So Marcia, I don't know if you want to touch on this or you want me to tackle it, but.
No, I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
The county has entered into an agreement with Parkview, I believe, for emergency services within the county and obviously Columbia City as well. By law, the city has to actually consent to that. So that's what this is.
Yeah, so effectively, we just have to say we concur. So we're not, I mean, we're not really entering into contract, if you will, for Parkview EMS, but we do have to consent. So, and I think it's what, is it a 3-year? I think it's a 3-year. That's not right?
25, yeah.
25, okay. So, any questions on the resolution? Okay. Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve resolution number 2024-26?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jenny, seconded by Tad. For the discussion, we go to the voice vote. Leslie?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Tad?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Next up, we have utility write-offs for 2024. Sally, are you taking this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So every year, we, for our bankruptcy and deceased accounts that we can't collect on, we always write those off and just need council's approval to do so.
Okay. Any questions regarding that?
Actually, that's kind of lower than what it has been, hasn't it? I mean,
We have great collection fighting from our city attorney's office, that's for sure.
We
so.
do. It's actually up from last year.
But nowhere near what many other cities deal with, just for,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
I mean, it's bad that we have to do that, but
Yep.
at the same time,
Things happen.
Yeah.
Things happen, so. Do I have a motion to approve the bankruptcy and deceased list and write those utilities off for 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Leslie, seconded by Tad, master of seconds tonight, apparently. So the discussion, we'll go to the voice vote. Leslie?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Tad?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
It is unanimous. Okay, thank you. Now, we will have the Pell team. Rusty, if you want to get up and talk to us about the Pell study, what's happening, and kind of the level 3 assessment that you guys are going through.
Yep, thank you. So, as Mayor mentioned, my name is Rusty Holt. I work for WSP. I'm the study manager for the Propel US 30 East study. Thank you for making time for me to present to you tonight and for your continued interest and involvement in the study process. This is where we are currently in the study, a timeline of our study process. We started 2 years ago, so late in 2022. In November of this year, we published the level 3 report, so that's the third level of alternatives analysis screening, the most detailed report that we've had to date. So that is what we published in November. We're looking to wrap up the study process early in next year, whether that's late spring or early summer. We're still working through that. Here are the steps that we used as we worked through the level 3 process. There are 7 steps there. First, dividing planning segments. We are looking at 60 miles of US 30, so we needed to break that into smaller pieces to more effectively look at them. Then we defined improvement packages in each of those planning segments. Evaluated the purpose and need measures, so that was for us safety, local mobility, and regional mobility. Then refine the alternatives that we had previously designed, update them to make sure they were more accurate, estimate the costs with those, evaluate the environmental impacts, evaluate the study goals, and then evaluate those packages against each other. This is a map of our planning segments. As I mentioned, 60 miles, we stretch from just over the county line in Marshall County at Beach Road all the way through to the Indiana-Ohio state line. Each of the segments are about 3 to 5 miles in length. We have 3 complete segments in Whitley County and then 2 more partial segments. One segment is named Columbia City, stretches through the urbanized limits of the city itself. This is a general graphic of roadway types based on their access and their mobility. So it ranges from a local street where you might have a lot of access on the roadway, but a lot of stopping for all those access points, up to a freeway where you have a lot of mobility, but not a lot of ways to get onto the freeway itself besides interchanges. And then everything in between falls on this curve. As you see there with the US 30 shield, US 30 is currently a major arterial. That's what it's classified as. That means it should have a good amount of mobility and less access than other roadways. Given the number of driveways and intersections that are existing on US 30, it tends to have more access than NDOT guidelines would expect for that type of roadway. So that's one of the major focuses of our study, is how to better align US 30 with the guidelines that NDOT has for such a roadway. These are as I mentioned earlier, the things that we looked at when we were screening the level 3 report. So looking at safety, we know that there's a lot of crash concerns along the roadway, a lot of high crash locations. Looking at mobility, whether that's regional mobility, getting across US 30 through the area faster, but also local mobility, how to get across the roadway and then access to the roadway. And we looked at impacts, that's environmental impacts, whether that's wetlands or streams, and then also right-of-way impacts, so the amount of land that a certain improvement would take, and then the cost associated with that, updating that with the design that we have. So after getting through all the level 3 study, we rated each improvement package based on these 3 classifications here. First was eliminated. Those are improvement packages that don't really provide as many benefits as other packages. They tend to cost more or have more impacts. So we've eliminated them from our study. We're not going to look at them anymore, and any future NDOT project in that segment wouldn't need to look at it anymore either, at least likely wouldn't need to. Second is carried forward. Those are packages that have marginal benefits, so some things are good, but they might have more costs than other packages or more impacts than other packages. So they're ones that we would want to continue to consider, but they need a little bit more analysis before we can decide if they're reasonable for that planning segment. And then the final is recommended. Those are the best of the improvement packages compared to the other. They have high benefits with lower impacts without extraordinarily high costs. Inside the report, there are these figures that show the entire planning segment, all the intersections inside of them. So there's a map on top. Underneath are all the different improvement packages. So every intersection has an improvement identified for it in each package. So the top row is what's out there today. So that's existing or called no build. Each planning segment has that on top. At the bottom is the full freeway option. So to turn it into a freeway, you would only have interchanges and overpasses. So those are listed at the bottom. And then in between are those other roadway types, whether it's a slightly better version of what's out there today as an arterial or an expressway. So those are all the improvement packages listed all together. So you can compare those. Also inside of our report is, in the executive summary, is this summary table. It provides all the improvement or the planning segments down the left-hand side. Across the top are all the different roadway types. And then in the table itself is the improvement package for that segment that corresponds to that roadway type and what the final rating was, whether it's eliminated, carried forward, or recommended. Here you can see on the number 8 Columbia City one, that package 1 and 5 are carried forward, 2 is eliminated, and 3 and 4 are recommended. So the 2 expressway options were recommended within Columbia City, and then the other 1 and 5 were carried forward. So those are the 4 that we would expect to continue into the last stage of the study. Mentioned the website that's listed there, propelus30.com. That's where all our report is at. We also have some videos attached to each of the planning segments that provides a fly-through of what the improvements might look like in the future. So if you're curious what an intersection type might look like, you can click on the fly-through for that package and it'll show you from above what it might look like. You can also leave comments there. I know the mayor's mentioned that he's putting together a letter of comments for the city, but we're welcoming all public comments in addition to official ones on our website. We are looking for comments by the end of this week, which is a month after we published our report. So if we could get those back by the end of this week, we'll provide responses to all those, make sure any comments get incorporated into our final version of this report, informing the final report itself. With that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them or provide any additional information.
I have a question. So is this entire presentation on,
The entire study is on the Propel US 30
Okay.
website, yes.
We had 2 public meetings. One was in Columbia City and one was in Warsaw. The first one was recorded and it's available live on our website also. So if you go to a virtual public information meeting, you can see our whole recording there.
okay.
It is much longer than this version.
No, that's all right. I just wanted, in case I wanted to look this in particular graphic up.
Yeah, so that's also in the front of our report.
Okay.
So a couple of comments. These things are not surprising because I met with them at 3 o'clock today, so they know everything I'm about to say. But I think ultimately, for the city of Columbia City specific, much of what was in our concept document that was created by the Whitley County Planning Group, if you will, a lot of the Columbia City portion, a lot of the ideas were already incorporated into this level 3, into their 2 recommended portions. So I think that's a really positive thing, right? We generally knew that 109 was probably going to be an overpass, 9 was going to be some kind of an interchange. Lincoln Way probably would be an overpass, underpass kind of idea in some way, shape, or form. The big issue in the plan as I see it is really twofold. Number one is 205 does not have a connection currently, and that's a traumatic need for Hospital Park, lots of residents, Cherubusco residents, things like that. So I think that's a big need is to have some kind of connector at 205 because currently there is not a connector. Secondly is something that I really appreciated, which is out of the concept document, there was a recommendation of a brand new interchange to the west of Deer Chase. To the west of Columbia City is kind of the new gateway connector, if you will. And that actually is included in the Whitley West, some of the Whitley West portions, if you will. I think that why that's critical is as we think about where the new jail is and the sheriff's deputies and where our growth is kind of moving. You think about the Culvers and the new bank and some of the things that are out there. Things are moving a little west out there. Having some kind of connector on the west side, I think would be very valuable because ultimately everything in the city is streamlined right now onto State Road 9, which is probably not the most beneficial. So having at least one more connector on the west side, but then opening up 205, I think gives us the three connectors that are really important for our city and for the future of our economic and community development, if you will. So those are a couple of things. Obviously, the outlying areas of Larwell and Whitley West and Whitley East have some other things that maybe need to be tweaked and stuff. But as for Columbia City, really the two recommended ideas are basically the same. In fact, they may be exactly the same, which is overpass at Lincoln Way, overpass, underpass. I use those interchangeably. I know they're not interchangeable, but overpass, underpass at Lincoln Way, right in, right out at Armstrong Drive, overpass, underpass at 109 Line Street, interchange at 9, and the idea of the interchange is, so I think it's called a roundabout interchange there, but really what it means is an interchange with roundabouts at the local roads. So you're talking Walker Way, you're talking about Frontage Road, thank you, blank. So kind of some of those roundabouts there, getting connectors there. Right now, 205 is an overpass, underpass, and then outside of that's past our city limits. But I would, I guess, encourage you to take a look at this maybe over the next day or two. They need to have comments by the 13th. But if you have comments that you'd like me to include or thoughts that you have, I'm happy to take that information. I do want to get them that letter. Will you still take it on the morning of the 13th?
We'll take it in the evening.
In the evening of the 13th, fantastic. So I would like to have them in the next 2 days if at all possible, because I'd like to get that, over to them in time. So should I just email that to you, or can it go in any form?
Yes.
I mean, I can send a formal, but I want to make sure I get it in time. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can email it to me or
Okay.
or Aaron, either one.
Okay. So other comments, thoughts, questions?
Any kind of a time frame that we're looking at with this, or is that gonna be 10 years down the road, or 15 years, or how long?
It'll be more than 10 years, I bet you.
Yeah, I was just kind of, that's what I keep getting asked.
Yep.
Is what kind of time frame are we looking at here?
Right. So when we're done with our report, it obviously gets submitted to NDOT. They use it as part of their project development process. So they'll weigh it against other needs and funding availability across the district, see where pieces fit inside of their plan, like the needs compared to the funding. NDOT's the project development process is 5 years, so from start to finish. So probably no sooner than 5 years. And then after that, it's depending on, again, the availability and the other needs in the district.
Like I say, that's a #1 question.
Yeah.
What is this gonna happen with?
So the way I typically answer it is so the new interchange overpass that was announced by Governor Holcomb, 2 weeks ago or something like that now, I think. The kind of starting time frame for that is 2029. Okay, so if you take that into account and start thinking down the road what that means, that tells you it's going to be a while, right? But I do really appreciate, I do want to maybe mention, I do appreciate the fact that NDOT has taken a step forward in this. You can remember, there's been multiple times I've reported to you that, we've been advocating to NDOT and to our legislators about the need for US 30 to grow up, if you will, and to become what it needs to be. And so I do appreciate that NDOT has put the effort into actually doing the study. As I understand, kind of the next step is the NEPA process potentially, maybe, if NDOT decides to pursue that, right?
Once the project is funded,
Yes.
it'll go into
the
NEPA development, yeah.
So there's still a lot of steps between here and breaking ground, is the answer to the question. But I think the nice thing about this is is that because the Pell study is different than a lot of the other studies that NDOT has done in the past, in that it has a lot of these checks in place where they do get public input along the way. That they're consistently having public input sessions and consistently coming, this is what, second or third time you guys, that they came to you guys, right? And coming to us and coming to other, they're going to Larwell sometime later this week, I think.
Thursday
So,
night.
Yeah, so, long story short, I think the nice thing about this process has been that they actually are communicating with us down the road and taking our comments and thoughts into consideration, which, to be honest, in past situations have not been taken into account, so I really do appreciate that. And not to harken back, but it wasn't that long ago, although it was 10 years ago, but it was about 9 or 10 years ago where some plans were slid across the desk and said, hey, this is going out to bid next week, without any input from locals. We came a long way from those plans that were slid across the desk at me. So do want to say appreciate how much we appreciate the fact that you're taking our input into account, so.
Well, like I say, I think the 205 for the intersection is a big deal.
Yep.
With the hospital and the potential growth in that area also. Just to have that as an overpass, I don't know how you get emergency people in there as soon as possible. That's a big deal. So I don't know how else I'm looking at that, I don't know how you do it. But,
So we did have two
I
options
think
that did have a connection. It was just, the two recommended ones were overpasses, but the other two carried forward ones. One is an interchange, and one is a traditional signal with some changes.
Yep. The
But yes.
challenge with the interchange was it went through the bones in it.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm no engineer by any means, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm looking at, I don't know how you do that.
Yep.
But, there's gotta be a way to get EMS or emergency people or people with dire need into that hospital as soon as possible.
Other comments or thoughts? Jennifer, do you have any thoughts? Nope? Okay, great. Anything else for us?
Nope.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you all, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Expect a letter from me on Friday.
Okay.
Hopefully Friday morning, but we'll see. Okay, thanks guys.
20 or 30 pages.
Nah, I don't want to be four. I don't want to be 4-ish pages.
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, next up is the RDC appointments.
Yeah.
Dan,
That's what I said.
not to throw you under the bus, but
Yeah, I didn't know where it was at. I'll have to check with Mr. Gates.
yeah. Do you know if Scott has an interest in being?
I asked him today,
Oh, okay,
because I
great.
knew this was on our,
Great.
and he said he's good with doing it, because otherwise you have to go hang out at the coffee shop.
Oh, yeah, we can't. hang
So
out.
he was all for it.
He can always get, well, he may stop at the coffee shop before he comes to RDC, but, so, okay.
And then,
And Dad?
I'd be
okay.
more than happy to serve on that again, so.
Okay, so do I have a motion to reappoint Ted Varga and Scott Gates to the redevelopment commission for an additional year?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dan, seconded by Jennifer. Further discussion? We'll go to the voice vote. Leslie?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Tad?
Can I vote
You
for
want to
it?
abstain?
Yeah.
Abstain, okay.
Yes.
Ted, Dan, okay, and Jennifer?
Yes.
It is 4 votes yes and 1 abstention, so congratulations,
Oh, thank you.
Tad and Scott, on your reappointments. Thank you. Okay, next up is department head reports, and we're gonna start with Ariel.
Hi, my name is Ariel Hernandez. I am in grade 10 sophomore. And at our last youth council meeting, we got to volunteer at the Humane Society. And that was a lot of fun. It was a really nice opportunity to help out the Humane Society, cleaning and helping with the animals. And after that, we got to tour all the parks departments and just travel around the community to see the different parks around here. And it was fun.
Questions? Thank you. Matt?
The guys are finishing up with the winterization, and they've got that almost wrapped up. And we're looking at new software because our other one stops next September, so we have to start looking at that to get ahead of the game, a little bit more so. Other than that, just day to day.
Question on Matt?
What's the software for?
Software's for the registration online. It helps
Oh,
also
okay.
schedule out games and tournaments and
Gotcha.
renting and.
You guys currently use Rec Pro, right?
Correct. Mhm.
But they've been bought out?
Yes, Daysmart bought them, and we're also looking at Rec Desk.
Rec Desk, okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Chip?
This software also assists with our test kitchen, so Matt's been very kind, keeping me up to date on it, and I've sat in through some of the meetings. So, the test kitchen is moving along. We did hit a little snag with the Lisi MOU issue, and Marcia's got that figured out. So we're going ahead with that. We've got some TVs mounted. Bill Dittmeyer has offered a Safe Serve class where he had 8 out of the 7 participants pass, so we're very excited about that. I keep on saying this, hunger is coming in
Wait,
next.
wait.
Yeah, 7 out of 8, sorry.
Okay, 7, thank you. I was like, wait a minute. 8 out of 17, or?
You know, I was on a roll and you just killed it. I yield my time to Sean.
Good thing you got software.
Yeah, right. And so, Hunger is supposedly coming in next week. We did a contract extension, time extension for Eagle Park, which was not what we wanted to, but Hunger, some of the logistics of what Hunger is doing versus what Shinkle is doing, we have to coordinate that, and it could become an issue. So, other than that, plugging away, trying to get all year-end stuff wrapped up and keep things going, so that's all.
Question of the Chip. Thank you. Sean?
Well, as you guys can see, Christmas decorations were installed, and the Christmas tree did come on with Santa's magic dust, which is amazing every year. So that was very successful. We're working on some SCADA updates. We had to rebuild a new server for the SCADA system. Terry rebuilt the server a while back. We went to agreement back in June for this, so it's been kind of held in the engineer's hands for a while. But as we rebooted the old server last week, the old server did not come back up. So now we're frantically moving over to the new server as quickly as possible to try to get the SCADA system back up, which is just what tracks our substations and things like that for us, so we can keep track of what's going on out there. I'm in the process of updating our terms and conditions with Marcia. There's a lot of old data and old facts and old information in the old agreement, which was from 2008, so it'll be probably several months we'll be going over this and changing things. Tomorrow I've got Thursday I have a interview or meeting with a young man that's a senior in high school that's interested in doing an internship, so he wants to be a lineman when he graduates, so looking forward to talking to him. We did take delivery of a new service vehicle from Enterprise that we have never ordered, so it's amazing how Enterprise can deliver things that I don't even order. So, but we did get it. We did get it all. We got boxes put on it, service box put on it, tools on it. So we're moving forward with it. We'll just take what we can get at this point. We continued our pole change out for our poles that tested or didn't pass inspection earlier this year, I guess. Guys are continuing that, and we're looking at a new trailer. We have a trailer that's been damaged just from years of service, so we're looking at replacing that, so we're getting quotes on that.
Questions of Sean? Thank you. Mike?
The lead and copper phone calls are starting to slow down. That means that probably we're going to have to start knocking on doors to check on the ones that still are unverified. Also, the guys that are remodeling the front office down at the water plant and trying to make more room for, because we do have a GIS guy working over there taking care of that stuff, and also with the lead copper and the new meters.
Question of Mike? Thank you. Mike?
All our employee evaluations and goal setting for next year are complete and turned in. Fourth quarter, the last time that we'll pick the force main from SDI started today. They're doing two sections. And then they'll do the other section on Thursday. I'm still waiting on a quote for a dice door, and I emailed them today and asked them if Columbia City should look at another representative for membrane covers, because I haven't got anything yet. So that email was sent forward on to the company with our displeasure. We're also having a meeting tomorrow morning at Jefferson on the project, the force main project, currently working. They had a pump, they replaced one pump at Main Street, waiting on a part there, and they wanted to start working on Jefferson, and I told them that they couldn't start on that because they have a station that they started and haven't finished, and I've got one station that's minus a pump, and they're not gonna have two of them, so we're gonna have a friendly meeting tomorrow morning on that project, so I'm getting frustrated with them, so. That's all I've got.
Questions of Mike? Thank you. Terry?
Server migration has continued to move forward, although slowly. We did get the fiber moved out of the old phone room over into the server room, so that project is complete. And we're waiting on a couple of fiber connections up at the test kitchen so we can install the network up there.
Questions of Terry? Thank you. Marcia?
Nothing?
Sal?
No.
I have a couple things, obviously. Well, let me turn Jennifer around here. There we go. So, obviously, a lot of things that I'm doing right now this week, especially with, I think I have all my evaluations to do this week, so I'm maybe a third-ish the way through after today. We are continuing to have conversations about amphitheater and kind of what that looks like. What kind of things we need to take into account, all those kind of things for Eagle Park purposes. I have a windshield tour with our state senator on Friday to just take him around the city and make sure he knows of all the great things the state has helped us fund here, and as we enter into the next legislative session, that he remembers those things, that as they try to cut property taxes and things like that, that they have a really good understanding of what they're cutting at the local level. As you so I'll tread lightly, but as I've said in the past, the legislature does a really good job of getting their gold star for cutting taxes and then forcing us at the local level to make up for that difference. Yesterday, the governor-elect mentioned or notated that it wasn't the state's responsibility to recover lost revenue from tax cuts that they make, that's up to the locals to make up that revenue. So just so you know what potential issue we're getting into next year, that is something that's going to be heavily debated in the legislature, and we will see where that turns out. You know where I'll be advocating, and that's for our residents and for quality of life and those kind of things. So I got that on Friday, and let's see what else. Wreaths Across America is coming up on Saturday. It's at Green Hill at noon. I will be participating as a part of that project program, if you will. We have another legislative thing, mayors and legislators for Northern Indiana on Tuesday over in Warsaw. Wednesday, I have my first task force meeting in Indianapolis. I'll be in Indy all day that day. I have youth council on Thursday, and then we are sliding into Christmas time after that. So we are very close to that. As a reminder, our next meeting for City Council will be December 26th at 6 p.m. here. So I think that's all I have. Jennifer, do you have anything to say?
I just want to quickly thank all of the different city departments that helped with the Christmas parade in Santa's house. Would not be possible without everybody's assistance in one way or another. I think it all came off great, and so thanks for that. Judging is underway for the Columbia City Municipal Lighting Contest. If you would like to make sure that your house gets a drive-by, go ahead and give us a call, or probably an email would be the best. Include the address, jromano@columbiacity.net.
jromano@columbiacity.net. And they can also contact their council members, right?
Yep.
Great.
And then council members need to contact me.
Yeah, yes. Great. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you. Dan?
Nothing, so.
Tad?
We had a good RDC meeting today where we were actually able to check off a couple things that we've been working on for a while.
Yeah.
Which was nice. One project we've been working on since I've been on council for 9 years
Uh-huh.
is in the very last stage again for the LML building. Was submitted for final release for that project, which would be great. And Chip was super excited to let us know that the landscaping on South Line Street was finally completed.
I finished the project,
Wait.
everybody.
South Main? State Road
Or,
9?
I'm sorry, yeah, State Road 9 and.
Oh, okay,
Radio
okay,
Road,
okay.
yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, did I mishear that?
No, yes, sorry.
Gotcha, okay.
So, yeah, Chip was out there with a wheelbarrow and shovels.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. See how that dirt under there goes?
So, but it was nice to have those couple things checked off our list and
Gotcha.
working with Columbia City Connect, helping them fund some of the projects they're gonna be working on next year.
Yep, awesome.
That's it.
Thank you. Jenny?
I have nothing.
Leslie?
I have nothing.
Okay, anything from the audience? And we have no press, so we will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.